Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire. Nastyapayeshu Padveshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So continuing with the discussion on Nectar of Instruction, verse 1. So the verse is Vachu Vegam Mansa Krodha Vegam Jibva Vegam Udarupastu Vegam. Etan Vegan Yo Vishaheta Tira Sarvam Apnimam Prithvim Sasishya. So we read through Prabhupada's purport now. Prabhupada is quoting Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj's commentary on this verse. Further, about he wrote about the urge of the tongue and the belly, and now he's talking about the urges of the genitals. As far as the urges of the genitals are concerned, there are two: proper and improper, or legal and illicit sex. When a man is properly mature, he can marry according to the rules and regulations of the Shastras and use his genitals for begetting nice children. That is legal and religious. So the urges will be there, but how to go about it? This was mentioned in the scriptures. Otherwise, he may adopt many artificial means to satisfy the demands of the genitals, and he may not use any restraint. When one indulges in illicit sex, as described by the Shastras, and there are many kinds of illicit sex, either by thinking, by planning, by talking about it, or actually having sexual intercourse, or by satisfying the genitals by artificial means, he is caught in the clutches of Maya. This is how Maya is going to get us one way or the other. See, the urges are there, or just like one place Prabhupada said, the itch is there, but don't scratch it. Because scratching will make the situation worse. It will not help. It will make the situation worse. So the proper way is to control that itch. These instructions apply not only to householders, but also to tyagis, or those who are in the renounce order of life. These are genuine instructions and genuine issues. Anybody who's in the material body, he has these issues. Scriptures teach us how to transcend these issues. There'll be many psychologists speaking differently about different topics according to whatever they think is the right thing. But we have to follow the scriptures. Just like today I posted this Prabhupada's quote, what is relative truth and what is absolute truth? Relative truth is everybody is thinking and everybody is writing according to their experience and their viewpoint, their consciousness, their sanskara, according to them, they're right. But they're not right absolutely. Relatively, they're correct, but we cannot follow any relative person of the material world. We have to follow the absolute person, Krishna, or true representative of Krishna. Then we can control these urges. There are so many urges. 6 urges are mentioned. So then we can control. And then what? Control, the real control is using everything in the service of Krishna. And as Prabhupada Shastra says, use his genitals for begetting nice children. But we go one step ahead, begetting Krishna conscious children. Then that is the right use of that urge. Otherwise, Maya is there to catch us, one way or the other. These instructions apply not only to householders, but also to tyagis. In his book, Prema Vivarta, chapter 7, Shri Jagannath Pandit says, My dear brother, you are in the renounced order of life and should not listen to talk about ordinary worldly things, nor should you talk about worldly things when you meet with others. Do not think of women, even in dreams. You have accepted the renounced order of life with a vow that forbids you to associate with women. If you wish to associate with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you must always remember the incident of Chota Haridas and how he was rejected by the Lord. Do not eat luxurious dishes or dress in fine garments, but always remain humble and serve the Lordship, Shri Shri Radha Krishna, in your heart of hearts. So this incident of Chota Haridas was a nice brahmachari. He was a servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So once Mahaprabhu was invited in the house of, I'm forgetting whose house Mahaprabhu was invited at for lunch prasad. But that devotee, he didn't have good rice to feed Mahaprabhu, the poor Brahman. So they asked Chota Haridas to get some rice from neighbor's house. So Chota Haridas went, and there was this old lady, and she gave some rice to Chota Haridas, and Haridas brought it back. Mahaprabhu asked, where did this rice come from? And the householder could not lie to Mahaprabhu. We got it from this Mataji. Her name was Malati. Mahaprabhu said, who went there to get the rice? They said, Chota Haridas. Chota Haridas, you are a brahmachari. You are associating with women. Don't be in my service anymore. Chota Haridas was thinking, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? I just went, collected rice, came back. But Mahaprabhu was so strict. And it is said that Chota Haridas, then he committed suicide because he could not serve Mahaprabhu and he could not take that separation from him. But he was a good singer, even when he was in this body. So he would come in the subtle body and sing for the pleasure of Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu would listen to his singing. But the point was, Mahaprabhu was so strict. And this is what Jagadanand Pandit is saying. Remember the incident of Chota Haridas and how he was rejected by the Lord. He was rejected in that pastime, but he was accepted by Mahaprabhu. His service was accepted, even in the subtle body. So one has to be so strict, especially for the sannyasis or brahmacharis. So the conclusion is that one who can control these 6 items, speech, mind, anger, tongue, belly, and genitals, is to be called a Swami or Goswami. Swami means master, and Goswami means master of the go or senses. So that's the real meaning of Goswami. Nowadays, so many people have the surname as Goswami. But that doesn't mean they are Goswami, they're master of the senses. They could be Godas. When one accepts the renounced order of life, he automatically assumes the title of Swami. So when one accepts the renounced order, so sannyasi means he should be a Swami, or as mentioned here, Goswami. Actually, in ISKCON, there is this kind of standard it's followed. It's not followed everywhere. It's only in ISKCON that we follow. So if a person takes sannyas from brahmacharya ashram, if he was a brahmachari, then he takes sannyas. Then he gets a title, Swami. And if he was a grihastha and then takes sannyas, then he gets a title, Goswami. It's just a standard ISKCON follows. Like, just to give an example, we write Jayapataka Swami. So he was a brahmachari and he took sannyas. He didn't enter Grihastha ashram. But Gopal Krishna Goswami, although they both are sannyasis, but then somebody can ask, why is one is Swami, why is one is Goswami? The means the same, but it just to differentiate or give an indication who was a Grihastha and who was a brahmachari. It hardly matters what they were before. It just a title. So a sannyasi means he should be a Swami, master of his senses. At least he should be controlling these 6 items: speech, mind, anger, tongue, belly, genitals. Otherwise, especially the tongue, as we have studied, tongue most difficult to control. And if tongue is not in control, belly and genitals cannot be in control, and he cannot be a Swami. He cannot be a Goswami. He cannot be a sannyasi. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was in Jagannath Puri, he used to get invitations for lunch prashadam with different Brahmins every day. And one Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came back to his room, Gambhira. But then this guru, god brother of his guru, Ishwar Puri, came, Ramdas, and he saw some ants crawling on the floor in the room of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this Ramdas, somehow he had very offensive mentality, and he would find faults with everybody and he would chastise them. And so he was very, very offensive. So he saw the ants crawling on the floor. He said, he was chastising Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Although Mahaprabhu used to respect him because he was brother of his spiritual master, but still, he said, so many ants are crawling, there must be some sweets around here. Means you are eating too many sweets, and then if you are eating too many sweets, how in the world can you control your senses? So you're not a sannyasi. So from then on, Mahaprabhu told all his servants that he would reduce his, not just sweets, he would reduce his eating by half. So wherever he would go, he had reduced it by half. And all his servants were very upset with this. Ramdas, where did in the world they come from? And he's talking so bad about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But the point is, if somebody eats unrestrictedly, it's very, very difficult, almost impossible for him to control his senses. So unless one is a master of his senses, he should not be called Goswami, but Godas, servant of senses. Following in the footsteps of 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, all Swamis and Goswamis should fully engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. As opposed to this, the Godasas engage in the service of the senses or in the service of the material world. They have no other engagement. And Godas, especially those who cannot control the urges of the belly or the tongue, like there's a saying, are you eating to live or are you living to eat? We have to see, what do we do? Prahlad Maharaj has further described the Godas as Adanta Go, which refers to one whose senses are not controlled. So one whose senses are not controlled, he cannot make any spiritual progress. And Adantako cannot become a servant of Krishna. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Prahlad Maharaj has said, Matirna Krishna Parata Satova, Mitho Abhipadyet Grihvritana, Adantako Birvishatam Tamishram, Punah Punah Charvita Charvanana. For those who have decided to continue their existence in this material world, for the gratification of their senses, there is no chance of becoming Krishna conscious, not by personal endeavor, or by instruction from others, or by joint conferences. No way, until we control our senses. And this control of the senses, especially the tongue, and tongue does two things, talking and eating. And it's not like we have to show it, make a show off to others. And in the mind, we are thinking, oh, in public we show, no, see, I eat only one roti and little rice and some simple dal, that's it. And in the mind, we are thinking, constantly thinking of the food, or where I can get some nice halwa and some this or that. That's also not correct. The process actually is, we make progress spiritually, then slowly, all these tendencies, they go down. Of course, here it is said, one cannot make progress until he has controlled his senses. So yes, in the beginning, some control has to be there, but it's not like all of a sudden we turn off the switch. Okay, I won't eat halwa from now on, or I won't eat kheer from now on. Not going to happen. The more we make progress, and it's not like Srila Prabhupada wasn't eating halwa or kheer or gulab jamun. He was eating everything, but not out of control, or he was going to get upset if he didn't get it. If there is, fine. Otherwise, don't worry. So the point is to control, not to negate completely. Bhagavad Gita also talks about yukta ahar viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmas. Yukta ahar. It doesn't say nirahar. Yukta means control. Yukta ahar and vihar also, recreation also, controlled. Of course, recreation doesn't mean we go start watching TV or movies or something like that, but control. Everything has to be in a control. But the main process is, as given by Mahaprabhu, is chanting of the holy names. So more we are engaged in chanting, more we get purified, more the consciousness starts to get purified. All these tendencies will go down definitely. And some imposed restrictions we have to do, yeah, we should do it. And Prahlad Maharaj further says, so there is no chance of becoming Krishna conscious. They are dragged by the unbridled senses. Unbridled means unrestricted, unrestrained senses into the darkest region of ignorance. What's the darkest region of ignorance? Adanta Gobir Vishitam Tamisram. Darkest region of ignorance means more and more thinking of I am this body. And of course, in human beings, this consciousness is considered covered just like fire is covered by smoke. But it's more covering this thicker in animal life or bird life or trees life. They're more into ignorance. And thus they madly engage in what's called chewing the chewed. Chewing the chewed. Ultimately, there are only these 5 working senses, 5 knowledge acquiring senses and mind. And here, if we go by 6 urges, ultimately this is all it is. Any species of life. This is all. But these senses, unrestricted senses, they drive the person so crazy. He just tries to do everything to gratify, to satisfy these senses. But they're never ever satisfied. Never. And just like in Bhagavatam, they mentioned if somebody has 10 wives and he comes home and every wife is pulling him in her direction, to tell him, okay, you satisfy me and you satisfy me, you satisfy me, what will happen to that person? He'll go crazy. Same thing with us. Human life that we have is not to find out how can I gratify for these senses? Where is the best good thing to eat? Where I can go and see something nice or smell something nice or this or that. Mostly it's about eating because tongue and the belly, very, very difficult to control. And if we can do that, and if we try to control these urges. Urges means the pushings. Everything is pushing. Tongue is pushing, and mind is pushing, and anger. Anger will be there if the senses are not, or desires are not fulfilled, then they become angry. And anger, as it is said, it's only one letter away from danger. So I'll add D to it and it becomes danger. That is anger. That's how dangerous it is to get angry. And an angry person can do anything. He just gets so out of control. He can do anything. Just like we read, in the rage of anger, this guy committed this sin, or he committed murder, or this or that. And so anything can happen. So one has to control, one has to try to control. Especially anger and tongue when we have to speak. The first thing we have to learn, like many people say, count until 10, or just wait. Wait when we are in good mood or bad mood, whatever mood. Wait before we speak or act. Just wait. Just take a pause, or write an email, or write a WhatsApp message. Just wait and then write. Then hit the send button, even if you have written. So the point is, one has to control, and then one becomes controller of the senses, Swami or Goswami, and then we can make further progress, and then we can go to text 2. And the first text is so strong. It's like, how am I going to control these senses? How am I going to control these urges? And how am I going to go and get to text 2 or to the text 11 of this book? Just sounds impossible. But by mercy of Krishna, mercy of Mahaprabhu, mercy of Prabhupada, everything is possible. So I guess we can stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments?
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
Hare Krishna, sir.
प्रभु जी, जो एक्सपीरियंस होता है निर्जला एकादशी पे, when we are fasting, no water and all, while we are chanting, है ना? So I was just connecting what you were saying कि only by chanting more and more we can control these senses. So
Yeah.
that one particular day आराम से निकल जाता है, while we are chanting, there is no thirst, nothing.
That is true. That is true. और उस दिन यहाँ तो फिर भी चलो, weather is good. In India, it is very hot at that day. Is very, very hot. And still we used to do that.
And the moment you stop chanting, again दिमाग जाता है, कुछ खा लिया जाए, भूख लग रही है, प्यास लग रही है.
Even the urge of the belly to eat. I mean, if we are really busy doing something, then we don't get this urge. If we not just chanting, even if we are busy studying or watching TV, watching game, or whatever we are doing, if we are really busy, we don't think of eating. So point is, get busy in Krishna consciousness. So don't listen to the urges. Yes, eat at the regular times, scheduled times. That's it.
No, but Prabhuji, us day to complete fasting, no water and all. That's also surprise. Otherwise, regular days, you're having your meal then on.
And this has been like earlier when I was in Delhi, and we used to like, yes, no drinking water and chanting, complete chanting. And devotees would say, no, Prabhuji, how are we going to do it? We're going to get thirsty. I would tell them, no, nothing will happen. Don't worry. If you get thirsty, drink water, but try to avoid. And next day, everybody like, yeah, we didn't even drink water. We just kept on chanting. It was experience of everybody in the class. So this is what it is. We think we will get hungry. We will like get this. Will happen. This will happen. This will happen. Nothing will happen.
So this is connected that दिमाग भी बहुत मतलब mind is also playing games ना तो play करता ही है तो it's basically it's not that your tummy is getting hungry और ऐसा कुछ है there's just that particular time पे जैसे खाने के lunch time हुआ तो your brain is giving you a signal that you get up and eat something है ना
Yeah. But that day we have told our mind, okay, no eating today. So mind just shuts up. What to do now? It doesn't even give us any signals. So same thing actually can be done every Ekadashi.
प्रभु जी मैं ट्राई करती हूँ बट 4 o'clock तक होता है ऑनेस्टली लाइक मतलब आफ्टरनून तक 4 o'clock तक उसके बाद फिर रेजिस्ट करना मुश्किल हो जाता है
If there is some body issues or medicine has to be taken, yes, eat whatever, but whatever we can push, because not just spiritually, this is also good for the body. The body resets itself every Ekadashi. Mahaprabhu Kripa Mataji is there, she can tell much more about it. And body resets. It really helps in cell generation. Mahaprabhu Kripa Mata, you want to add something?
You're very right, Prabhuji. This is the whole body is actually it's a mechanism, like it's totally a science actually. If we give a rest to the body time to time, it's like an engine only. So engine also does require some time a rest. So if we give a rest to the body becomes very light. So by fasting, by like taking only fruits or juice or water, so then obviously it is connected, everything is connected to the mind. What we eat, we become, it says. So when body is light, the mind is light. And then when the mind is light, then it is very comfortable to practice our sadhana very sincerely, like, and the focus becomes more stronger.
Yeah, right, Mat.
So we can try this every Ekadashi. But along with that, we have to chant more rounds on Ekadashi. Not just 25 then. You have to go much more than that. Okay, chalo, I guess we can stop here. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Jai Shri Prabhupada.